Good afternoon and welcome to Softball SA for Adelaide Club competition. We've got the A-grade games brought to you by Spacequake Sports. James Harris joining me is Lee Hull. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you, James. Good afternoon, everyone. What a corker of a day it is here at West Beach. We're so blessed.
Absolutely fantastic weather for your clash today between the Glenelg Rebels and the Seacombe Tigers. Now, this is our first chance to see the Rebels this season on Spacequake Sports. They haven't got off to a great start, but they've been very competitively. It's our first chance to see their two imports, Kaya Allen from New Zealand and Barbara Skopova from the Czech Republic. And
we are so much looking forward to seeing them and seeing them on the TV too, James, because we've heard some good reports about them and bring the game on. That's all I can say.
Bit of a new look lineup for the Rebels this year as well. There's only a couple of familiar faces. Montana Edwards returning from illness, and you've got the stalwarts of the outfield, Caitlin Carroll and Regan Lambert. They the key players for you?
They are. Caitlin Carroll's not named in the starting 9, but Regan Lambert, fine player. Sister of Jordan, of course, and Jordan, you've just seen her off, haven't you? They're on their way to Japan, the three people.
Yeah, so we've got some Aussie representatives. We'll get to that in the broadcast, of course, heading over to the Japan Cup, so good luck to them. On the other side of the diamond, on the third base side, we've got the Seacombe Tigers. We've seen them a couple of times this season so far, and if they can bring the energy and the level of skill and intent to the game that they brought at the end of Wednesday night's game against Port Adelaide, they could be in with a chance here.
They certainly could, James, and we saw that game, we called that game, and they were really impressive. They hung in there, and they didn't get the chocolates, but they certainly came back, and that's the trademark of Seacombe this year. They just fight on hard.
We'll be looking to their pitcher, Araha Munro, again to lead from the front. They've got a young brigade. Hopefully they can get around her. Stick around. We'll be right back with the action right here on Spacequake Sports. Great catch. What a catch!
My goodness.
What an amazing catch from Vicky McFarlane.
Highlight reel. Never say yes to the jest. That was fantastic. Saratoga can make it a push for home. This is 400 herself. 13 strikeouts for Gabby Snyder and one of the best pitching performances we've seen this season. One and a fantastic grab by Emma Burridge. She climbs the ladder and breaks it down. Bounce this up the middle, that's going to score a run. Bruin score 2. Deep to left field. This is back, and this one is gone. It's magic from Madeline.
Yes, welcome back to the live action here. Softball SA bringing you all the action thanks to our broadcast partners, Spacequake Sports, Statewide Super and MC Sportswear. So we couldn't do this without our partners, Lee, and we're eternally grateful for that.
We certainly are, James, and as you say, we couldn't do it without their support. And David and his crew, the faces change at times, but David's still at the helm, and we really appreciate the coverage we get.
Well, we are about to get underway between the Tigers and the Rebels. We've got 3 very experienced officials taking control of this game, Lee.
There certainly are. It's on plate at Steve Wallace-Yarrow. First base is Greg Rusak, and at third base it's Neville Lawrence.
The lovely ladies to our right, Lee, keeping official stats, Jill Williams and Julie Priest. So no doubt we'll go to them should we need to declare a hit or an error. Regan Lambert on screen now. She'll be leading things off for the Glenelg Rebels. Now, I mentioned just before, Lee, this is our first chance to see the Rebels this year. The results don't seem to have gone their way if you just look at their record. However, they've gone down in a couple of games by 1 or 2 runs. You know, it's been a coin flip in most of their games.
It has been, and I think I've just got this feeling today this is going to be really tight, and I'm going for a 5-4 win to the Seacombe Tigers.
Well, we can see the Seacombe Tigers on diamond now, so while we've got a chance there, I'll get you to run through the defensive lineup. Certainly,
James. Thank you. Pitching, it's the usual battery here for Seacombe this year, the young people in a Roha Munro pitching to Peyton Daniels. The people on the corners, Chantel Lewis at first, Ebony McLean returns from last week, and she's at third. And the pivots, Cara Schultz is at second, Steph Hulls at shortstop. And the outfield, Jenny, I will get it done, is at left field, Jay Graham starting at centre field, and Courtney Munro at right field.
All right, so a couple of changes from Wednesday night's game. Return of Ebony McLean from illness, and we see Jay Graham at centre and Courtney Munro at right. First pitch of the game is just at the bottom of the zone for a strike, and so a good start from Araha.
Yes, she's already pitched the under-17 game today, which they were successful in, the Tigers.
And yesterday announced in the state under-17 team, along with a battery partner, Peyton Daniels. Second base, Cara Schultz. So we wish those three girls the best of luck in the under-17s.
We certainly do, and every one of those players picked can play this game.
Big swing and a miss there from Lambert. Lambert herself had a successful tour in the off-season. She represented South Australia in the under-23s. That was at Redlands in Queensland, and was amongst the team leaders in hitting, over a 400 average at that tournament.
No surprise to me. Very good player, Regan. And normally with the lead-off hitter, she goes the distance. She'll fill this count up, and she'll go from there. So that's what you want from your leaders.
2-2 count for Lambert. Daniel sets up outside edge. Change of pace as well, Lee. So important for the pitchers in the A-grade competition to have a couple of tricks in the bag, and it's probably something that we haven't seen very much of. Araha Munro so far this season is too much of a mixture of changes of pace as well.
Yes, that's right. And with the really good batters at the top of the lineup, that's what you need, some variation.
Great catch from Munro. Gets her first scalp of the game, and Lambert strikes out swinging, and Munro gets her team off to a great start.
Yes, and now we've got the Penglaze girls. Sasha batting next, and on the on-deck circle it's Tamika, and she's Penglaze Blinkowski now. Hyphenated name, we're getting a few of them, James.
A couple of hyphens now in the competition.
A few hyphens.
And Munro catches the edge there for a strike. Sets of sisters in this game, the Penglaze sisters, the Munro sisters, the Mead sisters. Three sets in this game.
That just may be a record, I think, James. We'll have to look up the Funk and Wagnall during the week and see what happens. But three pair of sisters.
I'm sure it's probably been done before, but I'm not sure we'll be able to check that out.
No,
okay, Penglaze gets a piece of this in foul territory. She's just behind in the count, 0-2.
Yes, I thought Sasha wasn't going to play this year, but I think she's found the want to play, and I'm sure with her sister playing, why wouldn't you?
Still young, but she's going to bring experience for this Rebels lineup, much needed as well. A lot of young names in this team, in both teams.
Yes, and she did a lot of pitching, hasn't she, Sasha? Till Morgan Lashley came on a couple of seasons ago, Sasha was doing most of the pitching for the Rebels.
1 ball, 2 strike. The count, 1 down. Takes it high for ball 2. Also good to see in the lineup, in the defensive lineup for Seacombe, Chantel Lewis. She had a comeback game on Wednesday night, returning from an ACL. She's back tonight, or this afternoon, so that's great to see.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, she's been a very good player.
Just trying to get a nibble on that edge is Munro, and the count goes full. So 2 batters, 2 full counts so far for Glenelg. So they're really watching a few pitches here, making Munro come to them.
Good batting by the number 1 and 2 batters. Take it to the full count.
High for a ball. So great turn at bat for Penglace as she started that count 0-2. 4 consecutive balls.
Patience.
With a foul in there as well. So so good turn at bat. Well done. So Penglace Binkowski, first time I've called the hyphenated name there for Tamika. So another experienced player to this Rebels lineup. So hitting 3, so she'll try to bunt. No, that was protect the runner, and Penglace steals the base. Good protection from
certainly
the
was.
batter.
Yes.
That's what older sisters do, right?
Yes, well, sometimes. That's what experienced batters do. They just make it very difficult for the catcher to get the ball away without hindering them.
So Munro around the market, she's missed the edges that she's going for the last few pitches. So this might be a good hitting count for Penglace Binkowski.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Sure was, and a swing and a miss.
And Tamika realised that. She thought, here's my chance to have a dip.
So from the looks of the stats here, Tamika, this is probably only her 2nd game for the season. And we're about 4 games in as well. What's their record? Their record of 3 losses and 1 draw. So I'm sure a welcome addition for the Rebels lineup.
I'm certainly, even her experience will be a blessing.
3 balls and 1 strike. Another good hitting count. And just missing the edge. So consecutive walks for the Penglace sisters. So Glenelg have got what they wanted, and that's a couple of runners on early, and brings up our first look at Czech import Barbara Skopova.
Yes,
what do we know of Barbara?
I saw her pitch half a game a week ago, and she had a lot of pace. I haven't seen her bat though. I don't know how she is with the stick, so we'll soon find out, James.
Watches that one high for a ball. I've seen some Czech softball in my career, Lee, and they're very impressive, but mostly I've only seen the men's. So this is one of my first looks at the Czech women's softball, and from what I understand, she's been a great addition to the lineup.
Oh, fine, yeah. As Morgan Lashley was. I remember Morgan Lashley a couple of seasons ago got to the grand final, beaten by Sturt, but that's no crime.
We'll never forget Monica Perry's performance that day. She was almost untouchable.
Yes, she was.
Barbara's actually one of the team leaders in batting averages. She's got a couple of hits already this season, so 286 with a 500 on-base average. So she's got a presence in the box, that's for sure.
Yes, I've noticed with interest that she, unlike most softball, female softballers, rests her bat on her shoulder.
One ball and 2 strikes.
Which is something different.
Is that the bat on the shoulder, you mean?
Yes, yeah.
Sometimes it's the comfort level, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
I'm sure that is right.
Although
Excellent
not
point.
in the textbook, but Skopova crunches this one towards right field. Munro's got a job out there, goes over her head and to the fence. The Penglace sisters are off and running. Skopova turns second, but she'll have to hold up there. But she scores the run. The first run of the game comes off the bat of Skopova. The Czech import does the job. Sasha Penglace scores from second base. Tamika Penglace Binkowski moves across to third base. As we watch that replay, she got plenty of that, and Munro out at right field had the task ahead of her, fires that ball in quickly and reduces the runners to just a couple of bases each.
Yeah, and she was playing pretty deep, Courtney, so it was a hard shot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Perhaps we'll all change to having our bat on our shoulder now.
Okay, so this is Alicia Mead, so one of a set of twins. Lee, we'll see Taylor later in the lineup.
Mead families, famous in baseball and softball.
Of course, their cousin Jamie, attending college over in the USA.
She played in the under-23s too.
Yeah, she did on her return in her mid-year break. This one goes to the back net. Clay Spinkowski thinks better of it.
Yes, I think being an older person, you have second thoughts about ripping in there.
She's had a knee surgery as well, I believe, that might be in the back of her mind as well. However, only one out. Your number 5 hitter up to bat, so putting probably some faith in her hitter to bring her in. Swing and a miss for Mead, and Munro gets her second victim. That's the second out. We're just watching the replay of Skopova with the runners tagging up. Ingles takes off a home wave through from coach Rick Mead. That was the first run of the game. Now Montana Edwards, Lee, we've missed her. You've got to admit, from the Glenelg lineup, she's in the Aussie junior squad, and also named to play nationals in January. In this team though, the under-19, so she will be a one to watch this season for the Rebels for sure.
Yes, and like you said, everybody's missed Monty being around.
Takes that pitch high for a ball, so getting herself ahead of the count now with 2 out. And runners on second and third, so both in scoring position, and 2 balls and no strikes. She might be looking to score a couple of runs here. High for a ball, so 3 balls. So that's not too bad, really. You put the runner on here for the defensive side of things, and it puts a force on with 2 out. And dangerous batter is ushered up towards first base.
Yes,
so
I think that's...
Is this a tactic on this hitter?
Well, I don't know, but it's playing the percentages which you need to in this game.
That one on the outside edge for a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike now for Edwards. Swing and a miss. Right on the edge of the zone, so you've got to protect, but at the same time, you may as well have a go at one as well.
Another full
with
count,
a good hitting count.
Another full count.
So the Rebels making Munro throw a lot of pitches in the opening innings so far. High for a ball, so aboard again. That's the 3rd walk of the inning, Lee. Catch a speed up, so that will see Mead return to replace the catcher.
It's been a bit of a mixed bag here. 3 base on balls, 2 strikeouts, and 1 long shot.
Yeah, great double from Skopova.
That tells the story of this inning so far. What else is going to happen here?
Taylor Mead, the new hitter, launches that one through for a ball.
Glenelg hitters are showing a lot of patience here today in this game. Force the pitcher to throw as many as you can.
Good pitch from Munro, finding the bottom half of that zone, very important, because you throw it up in this circumstance, the runners are going to be going as soon as the batter makes connection. So anything that lands in the field is going to score a couple of runs. So keeping it low in the zone, trying to get a ground ball and reduce the damage if it finds a gap.
Yes, I don't know much about the Mead girls, the sisters, with their hitting at this level. We're soon going to find out.
Munro has herself a good count to work with here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Goes straight at her, and a 3rd strike out of the innings ends it. But Glenelg have done some good work. They've scored the opening run of the game. They've had 3 or 4 base runners as well. And you can't ask for more than that in a lineup.
No, and 7 people got to hit in that opening innings. And as you said, James, you can't ask for much more than that. Good signs for the Rebels. Now it's Seacombe's turn with the stick.
This might be a game where you make the most of all your opportunities now. Although Glenelg only did score the 1 run, perhaps they might have been looking for more because you know, you leave the bases loaded, and you know, that might be an opportunity that you might lament later on in the game.
Certainly.
All right, so the Rebels are taking the field, Lee, and I'll let you call them round the diamond.
Okay, so the pitcher, as we've spoken about before, is Barbara Skopova, and the catcher is Monty Edwards. First base, Taylor Mead. Second base, Lauren Jury. Ashley Mead, Alicia Mead, correction, is at third. Kaya Allen, the girl from New Zealand, is at shortstop. And the outfield from left to right, Sasha Penglaze, Regan Lambert, Tamika Penglaze Blinkowski.
Light breeze. That's a bit of a trademark for West Beach. You'd think, just we're really close to the ocean, so we get that sea breeze, and it comes in a little chilly later in the day. But other than that, absolutely sensational conditions for softball. We saw that Wednesday night as well. So putting on a great display of weather, and so no excuses for the teams out there. Maybe a bit of sunlight.
Yes, maybe, but let's hope this weather, we have some weather like this in January when we have the 17s, girls and boys here. I'm looking forward to that, James, as everybody will be.
5th to the 11th of January, we'll hopefully bring you some action right here on Spacequake Sports. So we see Barbara Skopova, Czech import for the Rebels, go to work, and her first pitch is low and a ball out of the zone for lead-off hitter for the Tigers, Steph Hull. And watching that one patiently, just to see a couple of pitches for a called strike on the outside edge. So 1-1 now for Hull. Timeout called. We've got a ball has just snuck over the fence there from a game on the Barrett Reserves here at West Beach Parks. I'm sure Steph will be happy to see a different pitcher than what she's been facing. The last 2 games have been against Port, because she missed last week because she was at a wedding. So she got to see a fair bit of Katie Sutherland Finch.
Yes, as a lot of players did.
Ball 1 and strike 2, the count now on Hull. High for ball 2.
So the late game today is Port versus Walkerville here, so we look forward to that.
Well, the article in the paper today was all about that game, so definitely a result to watch. And Skopova gets her first victim and strikes out Steph Hull. That's the first out of the inning, and a very positive start for the Rebels. Up to bat is Jenny Dunn. Now, Jenny basically turned the game on Wednesday night. Tigers did fall short, but it almost felt like a victory for them after the perfect game against Port Adelaide last time they played them.
It did.
Swings at that one, and a tough bounce for second base Lauren Jury, but she makes a great part play, a good recovery on that awkward second bounce, and throws out Dunn for the second out.
I'll tell you something about Lauren Jury that impresses me. She is 100% concentration, and that's what she did then. She didn't panic, didn't rush it, just waited, got a bounce and threw out Jenny. And Jenny's no slouch as a base runner.
Chantel Lewis up to bat. High and a ball.
It's great to see her back playing, James.
So she played 1 game last season, and then warming up in the second game, she blew out her knee, full reconstruction, and a full season off. Gets this one to the right side, and she will get her first hit of the season. So a great welcome back for Chantel. I'm sure she'll be happy to be aboard, as will Coach Radigan.
Yes, she'll be a handy acquisition of this team.
Jade Graham, number 4 hitter in the lineup for the Tigers. Would that be in place of Jess Maslin, do you think?
Jess is coming from work, I've been told, when I got the teams.
Jade Graham, one of the younger brigade for the Tigers, so should be looking to take a good opportunity here if the plan change happens, probably relatively soon, you'd think, to bring Maslin into the lineup. A change of pace there. Did you see that one, Lee? That one come out a bit different.
Sat up in the air like a big ice cream waiting to be licked, I thought, James. I thought it was never coming down.
We call that a slurve, a slow curve maybe?
Yes.
Low for a ball. So not a bad turn of bat so far from Graham. Seen a few pitches. And Skopova, though, not really giving her anything to settle into just yet. So they both might be looking for that one down the middle, I think.
That was an impressive pitch, that one. It wasn't a called strike, but it was impressive, the height.
Low and in. Great turn at bat, Jade Graham. Well done. She's 3 and 1. Runner is on first. And another ball comes over from Diamond 3. It's rare to see that. The Diamonds aren't that close, you know. It's and we haven't seen it before on the Saturday afternoon, so just maybe a couple of fluke shots.
We get one a week from the baseball diamond on Wednesday evenings.
Well, it's hopefully it hasn't unsettled any of the players out there. Skopova just straight back in there, so gets that strike and gets the count full. Jade Graham sort of waved the bat at that one, she didn't really swing, so full count now. Payoff pitch. Lewis will go and a strikeout, so Skopova gets out of that inning with a couple of strikeouts. Gave up the 1 single for Chantel. There's Jess Maslin, she was coaching on first base. Interesting to see that move wasn't made, unless, of course, Radigan wanted to give Graham just a 1 chance. And
yeah, I think that's what happened the last game they played Seacombe. Jess was there, ready to come on, but they just gave Jade the chance, like you said. So, and that's fair enough. You can learn so much sitting on the bench.
Yeah, and you can't argue with Jess putting work first, because softball's not going to pay the bills. A good friend of mine once said you can't eat softball, so you've got to earn a living. And as we say that now, Coach Radigan comes over to make the changes, and Jess Maslin will come in to centre field. Let's talk about the coaches for a minute, Lee. You've got Rick Mead and Tracy Opolsky, the coaches for Glenelg, both former players. Rick, of course, of baseball. Scott Radigan, coach of Seacombe, former men's player, or still a current men's player. He's got some tournaments to come this year, and you don't often see it anymore, do you? You don't often see coaches that haven't played before.
No, but I guess they come on, a lot of them come on through their children, others don't, but once it gets into your blood, this sport, I think it stays there, so they tell me. Interested to see this girl, I've never seen her play.
From across the ditch, Lee, from New Zealand.
Yes.
Kyra Allen. Leaves that one alone, high for a ball.
Patient batting.
A couple of countrymen going at it here.
Yes.
Araha Munro with the Maori background. Up against Allen.
Who's going to win it?
1-1 count at the moment. One high and
evasive action, as you would.
Well, our first look at Allen as well. She's played 1 game on the weekend. She arrived from New Zealand about a week and a half ago, and it was a bit of a baptism of fire as well. She came up against Sutherland Finch and the Port Magpies. not the welcome to Australia she would have wanted.
No.
Swing and a miss. So Munro getting back into the count here. It's a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yes, Kaya had great patience and just had a secondary thought on that, I think, and had a dip at it without success.
This one fouled away safely for Allen, so she'll get another look at Munro.
With a pitcher like Araha coming at you, James, you just need to stay off the real high stuff and go to the stuff that you have to play at. It's no different than any pitcher, but just stay out of that side.
High for a ball, so Munro just probably needs to tighten the screws a little, get it into the strike zone a bit more, because that's her 4th walk out of 8 batters now, so no wonder the Glenelg batters are watching a lot of pitches there, because they're backing their ability to see a good pitch.
Excellent points.
And that one's a ball as well. Allen takes off on the pitch and tag was made on the shoulder. Allen didn't slide. That was the key to that play there. Well done, young catcher Peyton Daniels. The statewide super replay will show that pitch was a pitch out, and if she'd slid, she would have gotten under that for sure.
Yeah.
Lauren Jury up to bat for the Rebels has taken that one on the backside of the helmet. She is walking up to first base. She looks like she's okay. Just
very small target, Lauren is, but Araha was up to the task, and didn't it bounce off the helmet?
Well, hopefully she's okay. Umpire Lawrence just double
smiling.
checking the helmet there as well. So she's okay. She's ready to go, and another runner aboard, courtesy of the pitcher. So 4 walks and a hit by pitch out of the first 9 batters, Lee.
Yes,
so hopefully for the Tigers, Araha can find the zone a bit more, because when she does, she's quite effective, because she's throwing the 3 strikeouts.
And I'm certain the Rebels have come here to this game with a plan, a dead set plan.
That statewide super replay just showed that it hit the face grill of the helmet, so thank goodness for that face grill, because she has saved herself there. Regan Lambert, the new hitter, and game's original leadoff, squares to Bunt, protects the runner, and another great play from Daniels, but sliding in safely is Laura Jury. Great grit, guts and determination there. She's been hitting the face mask, and then she goes diving and sliding into second base.
She's trying to get as far away from the ball as possible, James, but she had superior pace compared with Kaya, so that helped.
Well, a clear tactic from the Rebels. That's the 3rd stolen base attempt. Peyton Daniels was up to the task on the 2nd, and 2 stolen bases now for the Rebels. So looking to put their runners in scoring position. So Peyton Daniels might want to just put that one in the memory bank and ensure that she's ready to go for those pickoffs. Regan Lambert getting herself into a good hitting count, 3-1 lead.
Yeah, and you're a catcher of some note. That's you'd be expecting to steal all the time now, I think. 50%. 50% you'd go with that, wouldn't you? Throwing.
Regan Lambert forgetting the rules of the game, 3 strikes for an out.
I think science was a major topic at school rather than maths.
Payoff pitch. This time she'll go down swinging, so that's the 2nd out of the inning, and Munro's 4th strikeout lead.
Yes, it's an interesting game, isn't it? It's strikeouts or base on balls at the moment.
One of the batters to get a walk in the first innings was Pengler. She fouls this one off first pitch. Now, she started the count off with 2 strikes last time and still got herself a walk, so backs herself to be aggressive earlier in the count and has a swing at that one, fouling it off.
Although she's a young player, she's an experienced A-grade player, Sasha, so that'll stand her in good stead.
former state representative, of course, throughout the junior grades, under 17s and under 19s. So she knows her way around a softball diamond, and she fouls this one off down the right side. Safely, though. It's no danger of being caught out there.
And Chantel Lewis was running okay then towards that, which is good.
Yeah, would have had to change direction as well. So just putting that repaired knee to the test. 2 strikes the count. High for a ball, and a big jump from second base from Lauren Jury. So
yes,
she's looking to capitalise on any mistake that the catcher may make. So that was an important take from Daniels.
Well, that's her value, I think, lying to this side. Apart from playing at second, it's her pace when on base.
Good pitch, but equally as good was Penglace as she left that high one. Just nibbling around the edges of the zone again.
Yes, yes.
Is Munro. 2-2 the count. Great pitching from Munro. 5th strikeout of the game. That's the 3rd strikeout of the 2nd innings for Glenelg Rebels. And we will see the Tigers get an opportunity to try and reply and score their first run of the game. Lee, lots of strikeouts, 5 strikeouts, but 5 walks. Well, 4 walks and the hit by pitch. So she's going 1 for 1 at the moment. If she can get a couple in the strike zone earlier in the count for a couple of ground balls, you know, that's going to reduce both the number of strikeouts and walks.
Agreed.
It's a little give and take. What would Coach Radigan's message be at the moment?
Just keep going, just keep going. Try to get some more in the strike zone, but only chasing 1 run, you know, it's not insurmountable, not a handful of runs to chase, so 1 at a time. They need to come up with some people on base though this time, James.
Well, we'll watch with interest in the 3rd inning when Munro comes back into pitch for the Tigers, but in the meantime we'll see the young Tigers come into bat and Munro will be on deck, but leading off the bottom of the 2nd inning is Cara Schultz.
Well, the first 3 batters in this lineup, batters 5, 6 and 7, Cara as you mentioned, followed by Araha and then Peyton, and the 3 of them can hit the ball hard. So they just need to find a gap if they can get bat on ball.
Schultz patiently watching the first couple of pitches there, 1 for a called strike, 1 for a ball, 1-1 the count. And as she's seen a couple of pitches, she goes after the next one. It was probably there to be hit, bottom of the zone, and fouls it off for a strike. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Is this a bit of a change from Schultz from previous years? As a younger player, she was very keen to get after early pitches. Now we've actually seen her take a few. Change up, that slow curve.
What a great change up it was, James. All ends up, Cara was done then. And I agree with you 100%. She's changed. Maybe that's going away, doing...
She was in Japan with the Aussie Diamonds
that's
tour.
Right.
And
maybe somebody's picked up on that, and so that's a good sign.
Araha Munro will come into bat, and Lee Skapova's change up then was what caught Cara Schultz swinging. Looks like it could be a dangerous pitch.
It was a perfectly controlled one. Had a little bit of pace on it, but beautiful pitch. See, that's the pitch I like. That one, a lot of times that will be called in games, and there's not much you can do with that except ground out. I think the right field's in danger here, Tamika, with this batter. She gets hold of one, it'll go deep to right.
Munro leaving that one outside for a ball. Araha's actually contributed quite well with the bat, couple of hits and hitting 222.
Strong person she is, Araha, and hence the long balls.
and gets herself a walk. So she's aboard, and no question about it that the Seacombe coach Radigan would be wanting more base runners, as Glenelg have had quite a number early in the game. He'll be wanting a couple of opportunities as well, and Peyton Daniels now gets the opportunity to try to advance. Munro, who's aboard on first base, swings at that first one, but it was there. Just needed to keep her head over the ball a little longer, watching that ball onto the bat.
Yes, I thought they might have gone bunt here, but
with one out, Daniels goes again.
Nearly took the cameraman out, Mr. Laidlaw, Robert.
Robert Laidlaw, of course, does fantastic work. Another article in this morning's paper we saw. It was a great little highlight of this afternoon's game between Port and Walkerville, and he also does great stories and articles on Our Sporting Life SA on Facebook, so keep your eye out for those as Montana Edwards tries to pick off Munro, who got a big lead off.
Well, it's an interesting pick-off pitch, I would have thought. By the time I got there, Munro was back easily. I would have thought you'd have gone fast outside. Might have just lost the pitch. There it is again.
Well, she's gone two in a row of those change-ups, so when you're way ahead in the count, you could probably afford to do that. The second one, though, may have had a little more control than the first, but both of them not close enough for Daniels to have a look at. Daniels gets a good piece of this ball, goes over to Jury. She gets a rough second bounce. Munro is in a bit of trouble here. She slides into third, but the out is called. Peyton Daniels hit this ball opposite field. Munro turned second. Let's watch the statewide super replay. Just gets past Jury. Daniels aboard safely. Penglace Bukowski makes a great play over to third base for the out. Another angle of that play. That ball went pretty hard to second base Jury, and great heads up play and a good tag from Mead over at third to get the second out of the inning.
Wasn't that a lovely throw from Tamika?
Perfect on the spot as well. If it was just offline, it may well have seen Munro safely aboard. So a quick change of runner, the courtesy runner, speed up for the catcher. Peyton Daniels went to second on the throw. Cara Schultz is the courtesy runner now. Ebony McLean up to bat. Watches that first one through for a called strike, and nearly on the edge there, and McLean evens up the count at 1-1. So she missed Wednesday night with a little bit of illness, so we hopefully that she's recovered enough and returned to the Seacombe lineup. Interesting that the strike was called on that one, but it got away from catcher Edwards. Cara Schultz takes full advantage of that and gets over to third base.
Yeah, Monty was after it as quick as she could, but just took the outside of the glove and put Cara on the third. So Ebony's just got to be patient here, or 2 strikes on her. Can't be too patient, but try and get one into play somewhere.
That one bounces, and the throw over to first has to be made, as the catcher didn't take it cleanly. And Lee, we saw that weapon of Skopova. The change-up has taken another victim, so a slurve doing the damage.
Yes, she's impressive. She has a few tricks to her trade, James. Like you say, the change-up. We all remember Tash Straps has got a change-up that was thrown a lot of times, but this girl knows what she's doing as well.
Yeah, it looks like it's floating on air, doesn't it?
It is. It's floating.
She's got some good revelations on the ball there.
Revelations. That's in book number 3, I think.
Revolutions, Lee.
Oh, revolutions.
It's got a lot of revolutions, and it just hovers through the air. The ball grabs onto the to the breeze, and it just sits up. So great control from the pitcher Skopova, and she's got another strikeout victim. So plenty of strikeouts so far in the game.
Certainly is.
Well, Looks like another change. McLean may have come out of the game, and is that Sasha Mitzi at third coming in for McLean?
I think it is. Let's have it up.
To 85 or 65?
It's 85, Sasha. Yeah.
All right, well, as the changes are just being made, the Tigers ready themselves to have another go at the Glenelg offence, or vice versa. Really, it's the Glenelg offence having another go at the Seacombe defence, and Munro has been quite impressive with their 5 strikeouts. Let's see if she can get a little more control this inning. And Penglace Binkowski watches that one through first for a walk. Still got Penglace on the back of her shirt. Maybe the hyphenated name doesn't quite fit.
I would think not, baby.
High for a ball, so good start from Tamika. Gets herself into a good count. We've hit the 40-minute mark, Lee. We're nearly at the halfway mark, and we've only gone through 2 innings. That's due to the Seacombe the Glenelg hitters going deep in the count, getting lots of runners on base, and once again, it looks like Glenelg are taking a strike until they start looking to swing.
Yeah. Disciplined batting, James. Very disciplined.
Well, you don't want to walk the lead off, particularly when Skapova's up to bat. She's already had a double in this game, and that's exactly what happened. So Penglace Binkowski aboard with a walk. Skipova wants a chat with the coach. And an offensive conference called as well from umpire Wallace Yarrow. So just making sure that head coach Rick Mead is aware that that's his one for the inning. And maybe a little lost in translation with Skipova, may not be aware of the local bylaws just yet, and Mead and Wallace Yarrow just confirming the bylaws themselves by the looks.
Yes, I think so.
All right, will we see the steal attempt? Big jump from Penglace.
I'm thinking no with this runner.
Skipova gets the signal, and
yeah, I think you'd have to bunt or just put the ball down.
well, she hit the double. She's the only one that's put contact on Munro at the moment. Everyone else is either aboard from a walk or being struck out. So
yeah,
maybe Coach Mead trying to take full advantage of the fact that there's no outs and a runner on first. She has a big cut at that one, but it just goes foul.
ricocheted off catcher Peyton into Steve's mask, I think. Yeah, he's just rearranging it a bit. Thank goodness we wear masks and face guards, James. My gee.
Ball 2 and strike 1 the count. High and out of the zone. Daniels has just to keep Penglace honest at first with her lead-offs. We can see something a little different from the Glenelg team. They use the armband for the signal, so show the number of the fingers.
Yep.
Flash the fingers for the code on their sleeve for a signal pattern. And that's the big armband that you'll see on all of the Glenelg batters' arms, and of course the runners, so they can see the offensive plays. And Mead gives a 3 and a 2 by the looks of things, and no outs as well. Skipova aboard from a walk, advancing Penglace to second, and up to bat is Alicia Mead.
Yes, you're talking about the armbands. The Rebels brought that in 2 seasons ago, I feel. And yes,
they were using that with the pitches as well.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, Mead looked to be bunting that first pitch. And again here, and he gets good contact. Munro has to do the fielding herself and gets it across, but it's safe. So Alicia Mead lays down a very good butt. It was a little high in the strike zone, but she gets control and down on the ground in the gap between the pitcher and third base. So Munro had to do the fielding herself, couldn't quite get across the throw in time, and it's now loaded bases for Montana Redwoods and no outs.
Yes, dangerous position for the Tigers here.
Perfect batter for the Rebels.
Yeah. The Alicia, as you mentioned, it was a high pitch. She ducked down, controlled it well.
This one is put straight up in the air. No one's calling for it. Is that an infield fly? Play to second is a force. Tag the other runner. Bit of confusion. The infield fly wasn't called. There may be a couple of outs here.
Yeah. I know.
Well, the perfect umpire for the situation. The World Softball Hall of Famer. No infield fly called, which is the interesting part. Well, I don't quite know who the out was called on there, Lee. Did you get who the out was called on?
No.
Skopova still aboard at second, and
Tamika.
Montana. So it was Alicia Mead
Alicia.
forced out at second is the play. But a run scored as well on that play. And the wild pitch just gets away from Daniels.
Well, that was really interesting, wasn't it? And confusing.
All right, let's try and catch you up here. Taylor Mead is the batter up to bat. The runners have advanced on that wild pitch or pass ball to second and third. There is one out, and that was a force. So infield fly wasn't called, which is the interesting part. However, the runner was forced out at second because the force was then taken off. That allows the runner to go back to the base safely, and that's exactly what Skopova did. But the runner from third base took off when she saw the ball hit the deck, and that was Penglace Binkowski, and she actually scored while that confusion was over at second base. And so that's why we've only got 2 runners on. There is an out and a run scored.
And I'm sure the infield fly rule wasn't invoked then because it was supposed to be with ordinary effort. And it was difficult because Steph was running around trying to get to it, and it certainly wasn't an ordinary effort, you know.
Mead up to bat, 2 balls and 1 strike, low in the zone. This one gets away from Patrick. It's got to be quick here. It's Skopova quickly in.
So she can run as well. Barbara.
Choosing not to slide as well. Just make note of that because we saw Allen didn't slide when she tried to attempt to steal second base before as well. So second run crosses the plate for the Rebels, and they've got a handy 3-run lead now. There is only 1 out. Mead just earned herself a walk up to first base as we just watch this fly ball, and again we see that there wasn't too much communication between shortstop and second base player, and we saw Cara Schultz just tagging each runner twice there just to be sure.
Just going to the well once too often, Cara.
But she made the force out, and that's the only out that was called. So Kaya Allen gets her signal. Runners at the corners for Glenelg with just the 1 out. Runner takes off, and halfway throw to shortstop Steph Hull, just in case the runner took off on the throw. So another stolen base for the Rebels. So they're getting runners aboard. They're having patient turns at bat. They're putting the ball into play now this inning, and they've got a couple of runs. 2 runners still in scoring position.
Well, James, they're doing everything right to win a game here, and if they keep this going, it'll be perfect for them. But the thing that's impressed me about the Seacombe Tigers this year is they may get behind by a couple of runs, few runs halfway through the game, and their second half of the game is always they tough it out. They get outs and get runs.
1-1 the count now as Allen has a swing and a miss. Munro really needs to tighten up here with 2 runners in scoring position, and Peyton Daniels looks to attempt a pick off, and the throw just gets away from the field, and Edwards stands up easily and scores the 4th run, 3rd of the inning for the Rebels. And just watch the replay there. Mitzi was going back to the base, and maybe even Peyton Daniels was throwing to the fielder, but she turned it back on the play to go back to the base, and the ball goes out the left field.
Dangerous situation there, and you're on a hiding to nothing, and that's what they got. Then you've got to be so certain of that throw.
And Allen earns herself a walk, so the pitches are getting away from Munro. 4th walk of the inning, Lee, and you know, she just needs to tighten it up. I've said it before, that's her 8th walk, and the hit by pitch as well. So 9 runners aboard from Munro. So if she can just get it into the zone, a bit more control, and a bunt laid down from Lauren Jury, and the throw gets away from second base player Schultz. Right fielder Courtney Munro has to do the backing up, and Alicia Mead, Taylor Mead it was, that scores. And it is all going in the favour of the Rebels this inning. A bunt, a second bunt of the inning, safely a runner safely aboard, this time Lauren Jury. And we're back to the top of the lineup for Regan Lambert. 2 runners in scoring position, and
Regan's batting with 2 Ks against the name, and I don't think it's going to happen here for a 3rd.
Well, Nelly squared to bunt there. It was a little high, so she's pulled out. She's gone up the handle a little bit as well here, so maybe a little bit more control of the swing, as she's, as you've mentioned, gone down swinging twice already this game. Munro starts off with a strike and, a ball, and it comes back with a strike. Very important pitch.
Regan seems to be getting under with these swings, James. Instead of the level swing, it seems to be under, but without contact. Maybe you should crack this one.
Another swing and a miss for Lambert. So I guess the key with this hitter for Munro is that she's been high in the zone, and Lambert is probably looking for one down in the zone as well, and so that's why she's under it a little bit. Got to make an adjustment. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a called strike for Lambert. She laid off what she thought was going to be a high pitch. It's caught the top of the zone, and the second out made for the innings, and no surprise really, it's a strikeout. So Munro doing a lot of work out there, and so far it's either been a strikeout or a walk. This inning though, a couple of balls into play for the Rebels.
Well, the unfortunate thing about it for Regan and the Rebels is that she's had 2 runners in scoring position and then went down looking.
Well, this is the 3rd time through the lineup for the Rebels as well, in just the 3rd inning, as Pengay swings and misses at that one, a 1-on-1 count. My point being is that it's 3rd inning, it's the 3rd time through the lineup. Seacombe haven't been through the lineup once yet.
No.
We've still got the 9-hitter to go.
There's a story attached to that, isn't there?
Which says that the Tigers have been out in the field a long time as well. Now, it's not a blistering hot day, but they've been out in the sun for the majority of this game. Munro's thrown a lot of pitches. What can the Tigers do to change the momentum of this game?
Just keep persevering. I don't think there's another pitcher that can come on and pitch. So Araha, I mean, she's proven her worth as far as the leader goes with Regan. 3 times struck out of 3. So what's happening from there on?
And another walk.
Yeah.
Sasha Penglace aboard for the 2nd time, and both times by a walk. Coach Radigan, does he need to go out there and talk to his young pitcher?
I would have thought so.
Is he leaving it to the field to do that? Because let's not forget, he's got a young side out there.
Yeah, well, sometimes you do leave it to the field and they're not experienced enough. What are they going to say? Just hang in there. Yes,
Well,
maybe I think come out and just take the momentum out of the game.
This is the 10th batter of the inning as well. We've seen 4 runs, we've seen 5 walks. There is 2 outs. So perhaps Radigan's thinking, well, you know, let's just get out of this inning. Let's just get out of this inning, we can reset. But at the moment, I can't see where the out's going to come from.
No, I can't either, James. And Tamika's had 2 turns about for 2 base on balls.
The cut from Tamika, and as she looks to put that one in play, it looked like she was trying to pull the ball as well. So if Munro can keep the ball around that area, we've seen Jenny Dunn get herself into the game with a couple of good catches, and you know, you could probably, but you'd be happy with the fly ball to left field at the moment.
Yes, I think so. Tamika, when in her prime, was a big puller of the ball. Pull the ball hard, way up to Jenny or even further at times. So Jenny be saying, when's the next one coming?
Well,
or the first one.
All the experience in the Tigers lineups in the outfield at the moment. Maslin, Dunn, and the older Munro sister. Well, she just had to play home. And just a little bit of inexperience from Daniels, maybe even the length of time being out there on the diamond. The strikeout, the drop third strike, just makes the ball live with loaded bases and 2 outs. She just had to touch home plate, but instead throws over to Lewis for the 3rd out as we see the statewide super replay. 55, 56 minutes. So we're approaching the hour mark. So there's still plenty of softball left in this game, Lee. But all the work is ahead of the Tigers. They are down 5-0. The Rebels have been very patient in their turns at bat. Lots of walks so far in this game. But for the Tigers, it's been very short turns at bat.
Yes,
seen a few strikeouts as well.
And your point was a very valid point about the experienced players for the Tigers are out in the outfield. Nobody's pitcher and catcher can't hear them from there. Yeah, very good.
And no doubt the Tigers would be looking to their experienced players to try and lead their young brigade. Well, unfortunately, they're standing in the outfield. So here's one of those experienced players, 9-hitter for the Tigers, Courtney Munro up to bat, and she'll see Skopova for the first time. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it off. Now, Lee, I was just having a look at the results. Glenelg may be winless so far in this season. They've got 1 draw from their 4 games, but they've never been out of any of the games. 3-3 draw against the Hills, 6-5 loss on a squeeze play on the last play of the game against Sturt. They were blown out of the water by Port Adelaide 11-1, and on Wednesday night they faced Sturt again and went down 6 runs to 2. They've been good. They just need to put it together, and that's exactly what they're doing today.
They're playing, just about playing the perfect game at the moment, the Rebels. Played 50 minutes, and Courtney Munro, as you mentioned, first turn at bat. You'll be wanting to get some discount on your fees, I think.
That one in the bottom of the zone, and Munro's count evens up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Skopova deals and down and in, so that's a good pitch, particularly because the Tigers batters will probably be looking for that swerve pitch that she has, and full count and payoff pitch, we probably won't see it on this occasion. So Munro goes after this one, and it's just going to go foul. And Penclay Spakowski just gets on her bike for the moment, lands foul, so she doesn't have to get into top gear.
Well,
count's still full.
She's got some variety, Barbara. She's been impressive today.
Great shot. Munro gets aboard with a safe hit. Lead-off single for the Tigers. And so they breathe a little bit of life as we go back to the top of the order. So a key turn at bat from Munro. She went to a full count. She got a couple of pieces of the ball that went foul. And then, fortunately for her, just got one to just go over the top of the shortstop player and now runner aboard. Hull goes after the first pitch. Mead just waits for second base player Drury to cover. And the lead runner advances and gets the instruction from the dugout that perhaps the lead runner was on a hard shot, Lee. You would have coached that situation a couple of times.
Yeah, I would have thought the lead runner was well and truly on, James. Yes, but not to be. They're probably thinking we'll give them a base for an out here.
And you take that as well, 5 runs up,
yeah,
an hour into a 90-minute game. So
yeah, give them a base for an out. Yep.
So first pitch for each batter so far this inning, the batter has had a go at. So we saw Steph Hull just ground out. Munro, the lead-off batter, fouled her first pitch off, as has Jenny Dunn. A bunt attempt that's gone foul.
Maybe Coach Radigan has said to the girls this time, go out, do something, and do something early in your count.
Don't get caught watching that slow pitch. Yeah.
Take that out of the equation.
High for a ball. Now Jen nearly stole Katie Sutherland Finch's thunder on Wednesday night. Nearly. I'm not saying she did, but she took 2 fantastic catches, came up with that single that scored a couple of runs. Gets this one up the middle. Almost a replay of Wednesday night. And Jenny Dunn comes up with the goods yet again for the Seacombe Tigers. A single up the middle, scores Munro from second. As we watch the statewide super replay, Regan Lambert gets the ball reasonably quickly, throws the ball and misses her cut-off. Maybe a miscommunication between the pivot players. There's no one covering the base here. No, we won't see it, but Jenny Dunn's single scores the runner.
Well, that's what happened Wednesday night, and when she scored 2 runs, they threw outside to her, and she's put it out in the same, just about the same position, I think.
Good running from Munro, crosses the plate. Seacombe's first run, Chantel Lewis, the next batter. Just gets under this one, it's going foul territory as both the second base and right fielders for the Rebels converge on the ball, but just out of reach for the both of them. Yes. It lands safely and gives Lewis a second life.
Yeah, Chantel was on the back foot then playing that shot.
Singled her last time up to bat. It went to right field.
Only the 3rd safe hit for the Tigers so far in this game.
There's that swerve of Skipova.
Yeah, she seems to throw it when she's
into the count.
Into the count, yeah. It's the first time we've seen it this big, I think.
2-1. And Lewis likes this one, and it's gone foul to the right side again. So
sort of place.
So Lewis going with those outside pitches. She got the single to right field in the first inning and fouled a couple off to the right side this inning. 2-2 the count. So even in the count, perhaps even ahead if you consider an even count to be in the favour of the pitcher. Maybe we'll see that change up. Lewis gets a piece of that one. It was close enough to hit and stays alive in the count at 2-2.
The Tigers batters certainly seem more aggressive this innings, each one of them. So I'm thinking maybe she'll throw this change up here. As she's looking to hit.
2-2 count and fouls this one off again. So great battle here between batter and pitcher. Lewis just gets her composure a little bit. She was away from the batter's box there, as you're entitled to do on a foul ball.
I'd still throw the change up.
2-2's a count. Great shot from Lewis. That one goes into the centre right gap. Regan Lambert quickly onto that ball and reduces Dunn to just the single base.
Dare I say, should have thrown the change up.
2 runners aboard now, and the third of the inning for the Tigers, and brings up to bat Jess Maslin now. This is the batter that we would have loved to have seen in the first inning. No disrespect, of course, to Jade Graham, the young player coming through, but you can't buy experience.
No,
and,
you certainly can't.
And here's Jess Maslin as she sees the first pitch from Skopova. And as she's still trying to get into the game, because she hasn't been busy in the outfield, not too much has been going out there, and it's her first time involved in the game now, into the action. Catching the outside edge.
Didn't like that call then, Jess.
Acknowledged that that the strike was called, but didn't look happy. It's a 2-strike count now. We just saw this in the last pitch. She's not squaring to bunt. She'll pull back for a slap here. A low pitch for a ball. Was that the change up again?
It was a little bit quicker, but it was off pace.
Well, Skopova might not know Maslin, but she better not get it in the strike, anywhere near the strike zone.
Because she'd be due.
High, and this one travels out to right field, and it drops in. Henglace watches this one fall just short of her and fires it across to second base, where Lewis was tagging up because it was in the air, so on any catch the runners may have looked to advance, but this one dropped short of the right fielder. Let's watch the statewide super replay, just out of reach, and Maslin aboard with a hit, and all runners advance a single base, and she encouraged Lewis to take off because she could tell that it was about to fall short. Bases loaded for Cara Schultz, and interestingly, the outfield is in. Tight.
Yeah, as I said before earlier, James, that Seacombe impressed me. Second half of the game, they always seem to find something, find runs. Find whether it's attitude or whether they just get on used to the pitcher. Yes, they're in reasonably close, I thought, for Cara.
Well, pitcher Skopova was just signalling to the outfield to go back a couple as well, because Cara didn't hold back on that first pitch. Oh, for a ball, so good turn of bat from Cara Schultz. Yeah. Showing intent, aggressive intent, early swing at that first pitch. If it's there to be hit, we're going for it. A clear message, obviously, from Coach Radigan, but this one low, and she watches for a ball, so 1-1. This one goes up the middle, but and a bad hop for second base Jury. Chantel Lewis takes off, and to score from second. Dunn scores from third. Maslin is safely aboard at second, and Cara Schultz a 2-run single, and that make that 4 hits, 5 hits this inning.
Out of 6 batters.
Out of 6 batters for the Tigers. So it was the Rebels doing it in walks. It is the Tigers doing it in hits. It's 1 base at a time.
Yeah, and they only had 1 safe hit in 2 innings prior to that. So 5 hits out of 6 batters. Gee.
That first one is there to be hit, but Munro watches that one through for a called strike. Let's just watch the statewide super replays. We see Cara Schultz get a good piece of the ball. Jenny Dunn scoring. Chantel Lewis crossing the plate for the second run. Skopova backs up that first pitch with an identical pitch for a second strike. So Munro patient, however, has watched 2 called strikes and behind in the count.
Can't afford to go down looking here.
3 runs.
Swing your bat.
For the Tigers. Low for a ball, and that one looked like a little bit of a rollover drop, really. Maybe another trick she's got in the bag, as Edwards tries to pick off Jess Maslin at second, who was just getting an extended lead off and nearly caught short.
I think Jess was getting her capabilities mixed up with her ambitions then.
This one, another change of pace, and Mead, great play. She fields the slow roller and gets back in time to play the force out. Just Maslin was coming in hard and slides in, but not in time. Let's watch this replay. It is very close, and great play from Mead. So very good composure from young Alicia at third base. It's the second out of the inning, and we'll get a second look at the statewide super replay. Another change up. Munro just gets the end of the bat to it, and Maslin in a little bit of trouble there when the ball's going straight back to the third base player for a force out. Change is being made here, Lee. Amy Goodman coming in to bat for Peyton Daniels. So catcher Peyton Daniels, is she coming out of the game, Lee, do you think, with a number of walks, or do you think Amy will be just a pinch hitter?
It could be a pinch hitter. Well, it'll be one or the other, James, won't it?
Well, Amy Goodman coming back into the Seacombe Tigers lineup after a couple of years away in far north Queensland with her sister Elle. Goes up for the first pitch, and this one's hit to the right side. Cara Schultz is going to turn and score from second base. The throw from Penglace Binkowski goes wild. Skopova is covering home. Save! Munro slides into home. 2-run score from Amy Goodman's shot to right field. She moves to second base on the play, and Seacombe, just like that, 6 hits in the bottom of the third, tying up the game.
Incredible, isn't it? It's incredible. We thought it might happen, as I said to you before, James. We've seen a lot of Seacombe this year, and they will fight it out. And they get better in the second half of the game, and look at it. 5 runs like that.
Well, a great move paying off for Coach Radigan, just backing his team to hit them back into the game, and that's exactly what they have done. They've put a 5 spot on in the third inning to tie it up. Skopova now dealing to Sasha Mitzi and evens up the count with that called strike. Now Sasha really needs to keep this ball rolling. She's the 9th hitter of the inning for the Tigers.
Yeah,
it's her first turn at bat, as she came into bat for came into the game for Ebony McLean, of course, and Sasha fouls that one off, 1 ball and 2 strikes. She just goes up the handle a little bit to shorten the grip and no doubt try and get a little bit more control on her swing. High for a ball, and that one had a little bit extra on it, Lee. So Skopova definitely varying it up a lot more now that she's had a couple of hits against her, because the hits have come early in the count. So yes, fouls that one off, and staying alive in the count is Mitzi. So she hasn't had too many opportunities to throw that change up, and so to vary it up a little bit, she's just throwing it a little bit harder.
Yeah, and that's been to their delight, the Seacombe hitters.
2 and 2, and gets her hitter swinging. And so 9 batters that inning, 6 hits and 5 runs for the Tigers, and there will be a change. We saw Amy Goodman come in with that single to right field that scored a couple of runners, and lead. The change is Cara Schultz coming in to catch, and maybe going for a little bit more experience behind the plate. Probably nothing against Peyton. She's called a good game, but maybe Coach Radigan looking to cut down the number of walks. And
yeah, well, she would have caught to Araha before through juniors and that, Cara. So yeah, so interesting game, isn't it now? Interesting, really.
Cara's a great little utility. She was playing in the infield just before. She played shortstop last Saturday, second base on Wednesday, second base earlier today, catching this inning. And so she can fill a hole as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if she'll start to work on one position, trying to master that position and become a specialist, or if she'll continue to float around. Just remember, this is her 3rd season in this A-grade competition. So she will bring a little bit more experience to the battery. Peyton Daniels, of course, her 1st season in the A-grade, only 4 or 5 games under her belt.
And I think Cara is your go-to utility player. She can play short, third, second, I haven't seen her much in the outfield, but we know she can catch. So it's a very good point, James.
Well, started her A-grade career with Seacombe in the outfield and has made her way into the infield last season, and now I've got the opportunity to do some catching and maybe even an infield leadership role. But let's go back to the action here. Skopova, the hitter for Glenelg, and she's had a couple of good turns at bat so far. She hit that double to right field that scored the first couple of runs of the game, and then she got a walk. She was the second batter of the second inning. Oh, sorry, second batter of the first batter, lead-off batter for the third inning, and I'll get it right in a moment. And led off with a walk, so she gets an opportunity to be lead-off again.
Well, they need to find something here, don't they, in this thing? Batters 4,
lineup, yep.
5, 6, and 7.
Skopova swings at a high one, really a swat at that ball, and almost similar to the hit that she got in the first inning, although it was a bit closer to the strike zone. But this one was a swat at the ball and just nicked it and got enough of it to go
yeah,
foul.
That was like a tennis shot more than anything, wasn't it?
Goes at this one, it's high and good catch in the end from Mitzi. The sun may have come into play there. She had to take her eye off it momentarily, but her body was moving across for the ball, ended up taking a pretty good catch in the end. Let's watch the statewide super replay. Another high pitch for Skopova to swing at, and good catch in the end. Steph Hull was there for support. Mitzi's moved from third to second with the change of catcher, and Amy Goodman is at third.
It looked like it was a bit of a change-up from Araha, and she got her player.
Munro deals and gets that one in the strike zone, so she's ahead of the count early on Alicia Mead.
Yeah, she'll swing at this one now.
Who bunted last time up to bat safely. And high for a ball. Did she bring in a run with that bunt, or was it just successfully moved the runners around, I think? And goes down swinging. So Alicia Mead is the second victim for Munro in this inning. Just quickly back to Alicia. I know she just got out, but she's had a very good season so far. She's hitting 250. She's got another hit today, and so she's actually been one of the players, junior players, stand up for the Rebels this year. So it'd be good to see her evolve her game a little bit more as the season progresses.
Yes.
Well, Montana Edwards, the new hitter, also hitting 250. She's been aboard with a single and a walk so far this game, so that average will go up for Montana Edwards. Just watching that first one patiently for a ball and looking to go on this one. She loaded up and looked like she was going to be aggressive from that. It's the moment that pitch left the hand of Araha Munro, evening up the count 1-1.
Just taking the pace off the ball now and again to the previous batter and now to Monty.
High for a ball 2 balls and 1 strike. We're approaching the 80-minute mark now. We know no new innings at the 85-minute mark, and so this may potentially be the last inning unless we see a quick out here and then 3 quick outs for the Tigers. But the game's on the line, Lee. It's 5-all, and a little bit of momentum in the favour of the Tigers at the moment, and no doubt Montana Edwards will be looking to change that. 3-1 is the count. And she earns herself a walk, so catcher aboard with 2 out. We'll see a speed-up runner come on. And it's Mead. and we'll have the twins both on. Alicia Mead goes to first as the catcher speed up, and Taylor Mead is the batter up to the plate now. Lee 2 out, runner on first. We saw a lot of stolen bases earlier in the game. Will they take on Schultz? To lead off.
Well, you're trying to get a run, aren't you? So whatever's in your game plan, stick to it.
The Mead girls get their signal, check their armband, and Munro gets her signal and into her motion, and a strike swinging. 1-1 the count, and we saw Schultz was ready to go on that one. She got up very quickly just in case the runner took off on the pitch. Swing and a miss. Oh, she's in no man's land here, and a pick-off attempt. What saved me just then was the fact that she hesitated, and Schultz was then in two minds. Do I go at her? And as she hesitated her throw, Mead had an opportunity to get back to the base and just diving back safely.
Just got the throw.
2 strikes, 1 ball, and a foul. Taylor Mead has a strikeout and a walk to her name so far this game, and the Rebels team will be looking to her to really make this at-bat count, because if she can move the runner around, another opportunity, advancing a runner into a scoring position. 5 for a ball, so 2-2 the count. And a good pitch from Munro as well, just mixing it up a little bit. It came through high and with a little bit of speed on it as well, so definitely trying to battle against the batter here.
Yeah, it all rests with Taylor here. Just turn it back.
A little bit of a change of pace gets Taylor Mead swinging for the 3rd out of the inning. We're around about 81.5 minutes now, which tells me, Lee, that this is going to be the last inning. It's the bottom of the 4th, believe it or not, and Seacombe have a chance to win it. 20 minutes ago, you wouldn't have thought they were in the game, but all of a sudden, they're in position to win this game.
Well, credit to the Tigers and the coach Radigan, because a few times this season we've seen this. They just fight it out, and by fighting it out, knuckling down, getting the bats to work like they did in that one productive innings, they get the runs and they get back in the game. And we've got it. Here's their chance here.
Well, we're going to start off with the 9-hitter for the Tigers, Courtney Munro, and she was, of course, the one that got the ball rolling for them in the 3rd inning with that single to left field. And then it was the top order that came in, advancing her, and Jenny Dunn is going to be 3rd up in this inning, who scored Courtney Munro on her single to centre field. So the right batter's up for the Tigers. So let's see if Skopova can hold her nerve here in the bottom of the 4th. Ooh, great catch! Munro line drives that ball straight back to Skopova. First pitch, and the ball has stuck. She was as shocked as us all. Let's watch the statewide super replay, Lee. Munro gets after the first pitch, bang! Takes a great reflex catch.
It's when you're in the pitching position, James, you either wear it or you catch it. Oh, she's in the play again, Barbara. First pitch both times.
2 pitches, 2 outs. Skopova standing up here for the Rebels, and Steph Hull grounds out that time. So we had that line drive. This is the replay of the line drive. Munro absolutely middled this as well, Lee. Oh, we just cut short. We did see that replay, but wow, what a great catch from Skopova. Gee, the adrenaline will be pumping now, and that may even be in the favour of the Rebels here with your pitcher in control. She's made a good ground ball the very next pitch. Let's see what happens here. Jenny Dunn. High for a ball, and
but with this situation, I'm not sure I'd be going first pitch. I'd be making this, because this should be the last innings offensively. So take your time, see if you can get somebody on.
high for ball 2. Now, I think the left and the right fielders are probably in good position, but it looks like Regan Lambert is a bit more shallow than what she'd normally play on a decent hitter like Jenny Dunn. And this one is crunched, and this one is going to drop short. So Regan was probably in the right position, but she just fell short of her. Jenny Dunn aboard with another hit. She's got 2 hits for the game, and the Tigers have their runner aboard. Now, we're getting to that point of the game where no new innings will be called, so it's at least a draw is the result, and Chantel Lewis, the hitter for the Tigers, will be looking to advance Jenny Dunn, but also get aboard safely. Goes first pitch, and this one is going to be a basic play for Allen at shortstop to make the force out. Time and game called from plate umpire Wallace Yarrow. So Lee, the Tigers salvage a draw, a 5-all draw after a terrific 3rd inning where they got 5 runs from, what was it, 6 hits. And let's watch that replay of Skopova. If she hadn't got a hold of that, the leadoff gets on again, and the Tigers in the box seat. So Tigers, I said salvaged a draw, but it was the Glenelg Rebels game from the start. They played very well, Lee. They got a lot of walks and got a lot of runners on base and put themselves in a winning position early. A
lot of great signs from both teams, actually, James. You've mentioned the Seacombe girls, and they're bouncing out a game like they did on Wednesday night, though they lost on Wednesday. But Glenelg, they're getting something in their game now. Getting something in there.
Well, a good result for both clubs. If you're hoping for a close game, you got it. It's a 5-all draw. They both get a point out of the draw, and you know, a couple of outstanding players in that game. Jenny Dunn had a couple of hits. Chantel Lewis had a couple of hits as well. Cara Schultz's hit was important. Amy Goodman got a good shot in the 3rd inning as well for her pinch hit. Courtney Munro led off the 3rd inning with a good hit. But you look at the flip side of that, and you know, there's only a couple of hits in there. Barbara Skopova was terrific with her double in the 1st inning, scoring a couple of runs, and she got a walk. She did a great pitching performance to reduce the Tigers to really only 1 good offensive innings for the Tigers. So she did quite well as well. Who's the pick of the bunch for you, Lee? Montana Redwoods, couple of walks and a hit. It was good contributions all around, wasn't it?
Certainly was.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Jenny Dunn didn't have anything to do out in the outfield. 1 ball out there, I think. So I'm discounting her.
For me, Skopova really helped the Rebels stay in the game. Well, she got them ahead of the game in the 1st inning, then kept them in the game for the remainder of it. You know, full credit to Arahal Munro, her opposing, Skopova's opposing number. Although through a lot of walks, the Tigers still lent on her, didn't they, for her to keep them in the game. And once again, we didn't see too many plays go to the field. A lot of strikeouts, so she's got another bag full there, Munro. So well done to both teams. It's a 5-all draw. It feels a little empty, the result, doesn't it, when it's a draw? However, take nothing away from both teams. They both battled well. We're going to wrap things up here. Very special thanks to Statewide Super, Spacequake Sports, the Glenelg Rebels draw against the Seacombe Tigers, 5 runs all. Thank you, Lee. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on Wednesday night for the big clash between the Sturt Falcons and the Walkerville Cats. Have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Great pass. What a catch!
My goodness.
What an amazing catch from Vicky McFarlane.
Highlight reel. Never say yes to the jest. That was fantastic. Sarah Tonkin making a push for home. This is 400 herself. 13 strikeouts for Gabby Snyder, and one of the best pitching performances we've seen this season. What a fantastic grab by Emma Burridge. She climbs the ladder and breaks it down. Atkins bounce this up the middle. That's going to score a run. Bruin score 2. Deep to left field. This is back, and this one is gone.